I'm here with Mike Reith in Dagenham in your house, and I've just come down just to ask you a few questions about a ministry that the Lord has used you in over the years, which has been door-to-door ministry. Just tell me a bit about how that came about, how long you've been doing it. Love to hear a bit about it.
Welcome to Dagenham first.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Been to your place, and you can see it's not great to come here.
From Bromley, yeah.
And Bromley, that's right. And then the other thing is, you want me to come at you before I'm retired. Is that a nice way of saying before you die, tell us how you do it?
Didn't quite put it that way, but you are retiring soon, and we wanted to come and see you and hear about what's been going
on. You want to know how it started. Now, I guess it goes back about 30 years when I was in Leyland in Lancashire, and we had a smallish patch. So what we did was we got the congregation, we made each one a street contact of a certain street, and we'd visit 3 times a year, mainly to invite them to a church thing going on. And people started coming in, and the smiles of recognition were there, and goodwill was created around the place. So we thought, no, this is worth doing. So when we came to Dagenham, we carried on, but it's a much bigger place, particularly the parish I was in before this one. And so therefore, we tried different other ways of doing it.
Okay.
And so we did Jesus video, we did questionnaires, you name it, we tried it. And I guess out of all that, the present system that we now have has evolved. And so we decided that the old ways of doing those things were largely offer-based.
And were largely what? Sorry,
offer, but that you were going to give them something, or that you went with something on the agenda.
Okay.
And we thought, let's try and do this relationally, because that's how people act and relate to each other. So it went with the grain of human relationships, and we thought, let's try and do it that way.
So in basic terms, then, what we're going to talk about now is not so much you going with an agenda, but starting where they're at. Is that
I think love your neighbour is a fairly good way of summing it up. And we just go to the people who live around us, and this is the biggest patch of all. So we've got to trek a bit to get the people living around us, but they still live around us in our catchment area, and therefore we go and we try and do the neighbourly thing, get to know people in our area.
Yes, but you are knocking on a door. In pairs.
Usually in pairs, yes, and usually a limited number of doors for work we have to do follow up. Following up the door-to-door work. So we get about 30 houses.
Okay.
Each
so
time.
A team of a few of you.
About 10.
Yeah.
Sometimes more, sometimes less.
Yeah.
The great thing about this is you can do it with a team of 1. At least if you take someone with you, well, you've got your team of 2.
Yes.
And it just needs one other to join you, and you're set to go.
Right. But maybe we could pause on that for a second. Just the very concept of door to door, knocking on a door, cold calling. When you go around other churches and talk about this, or you try and encourage people to do this, what sort of reactions do you get? Why do you think there might be a sort of intake of breath when you suggest this as a significant evangelistic strategy? Why do you think we're anxious about that?
There's two different audiences, I guess. If you're talking about in your own church and you're leading your own church, where people follow the leader just out of, at the very least, interest to see where they're going, but with somebody else, then yes, the silent scream begins, and people hear you asking them to walk on glass, and they keep looking for the fire escapes. But actually, Christians are Christians, and we know that we need to be meeting up with non-Christians, and evangelism is not that difficult, really. It just needs 2 ingredients. You need a Christian and you need non-Christian. And there's enough of each to make the mix useful, possible. The only snag is that you do need those two ingredients together in the same place at the same time, and that happens in the ordinary working life of being in the office or wherever.
Yeah.
And people mix and talk, or if they're following a hobby together or going to a football match, again, they are together but not Christian mates, but they normally talk about other things, football or work, and therefore the opportunity to get talking about Jesus doesn't really happen. And so therefore you need to put Christians and non-Christians together, because outside the world of hobby and work, the two generally don't mix. One's over here, one's over there. How do you get them together?
Okay.
And it seems to me that actually putting them together in a home setting is to put them in a place where other conversations can take place. You're not just in one zone, and I think that creates a bit of freedom. People aren't rushing off to anything, and so in the context of a home visit, I think more is possible if you do it in a sane way.
Okay.
And that, I think, is what makes it less cringy.
Okay, we'll come to that in a second. But so you're trying to find Sunday afternoon is a time you've landed on as a time when people are at home generally?
Yes, when we started our church, and we did that 5 years ago, we wanted to set the culture to be evangelistic, and therefore we said there are 3 things we want to do together. We want to encourage each other, of course, but in addition to that, we want to go out and meet people in our community, to evangelize and to meet people and to eat together, meet and eat as well as being encouraging. So we meet at 12:30, have lunch, then we go out and meet people, visit, and then have our service at 4. So that there's an opportunity, people get to know us on the doorstep in the afternoon, they can come in the evening, some have.
But let's come back to this thing about the home then, because so it's a good place in one sense. In another way, lots of people would say, well, we have cold callers who come to our home, we don't like it when they come. Jehovah's Witnesses are the only people who knock on our door, and we're not sure about that. Ought Christians to be doing this? You know? So you've talked about doing it in a sane way. Could you just deal with this obstacle of, I guess, door knocking just as an issue? And what do you think is our problem with door knocking?
Well, I think we've had the bad experience, as you've explained, that the JWs come and only Jesus loves them, we don't. And so it's how you turn the cold calling aspect of it into warm calling. And I think the JWs are just so brilliant, because if you can take someone who does it really badly and then do the opposite, then cold calling is going to be warmer.
Right.
And so what do the JWs do wrong? Number 1, they turn up unexpectedly.
Okay.
Number 2, they don't give 2 hoots about you. They've just got one particular thing on their mind to tell you about the Kingdom Hall, normally. And then thirdly, they download and have a pre-scripted speech that you could be a cardboard cutout as far as they're concerned, as long as you listen to it. So how do you do that differently? And I think it just helps to send a letter before you come saying, we're coming.
So that deals with the unexpected thing.
And that deals with the unexpected thing. And tell them why, and tell them when, and tell them what to do if they don't want you to come. Here's a text, just let us know we don't want to be pests. And then secondly, when we go around, then we are relational rather than just simply wanting to tell people what we want to tell them. So mainly it's listening rather than speaking. You just need to unlock the conversation with some questions that they feel comfortable with, And the questions that we use are the ones that anyone would use if they were having a chat with someone over the garden fence.
Okay.
And how do you get to know them?
Yeah. Okay.
And so there's nothing threatening about that.
Yeah.
And so that makes it warmer. And if you want to go into details, ask again. I can go further. And then thirdly, JWs, they tell you what they have to say, which they've read from Watchtower, and you're going to get it. And it's much easier and more natural, I think, if you ask people to tell you what they think and believe, and then maybe engage with them on that. And then after that, the JWs disappear and you never see them again,
right,
until the next plane load from America arrives.
Okay.
So what we do is actually to say, well, we're here. So we write a little card saying, thank you very much. We absolutely enjoyed meeting you. And there's something that we go back with. So that it's not just a one-off fleeting, but here's a friend who's turned up again.
Which is your thing that you said at the start about the model that you used to run with was more, I can't remember how you put it, but more to do with us.
Yes.
And this is a model that you've worked through over the years that is more to do with relational, where are they at, and taking an interest in
and
that.
I think at that point, people get their eyes off the fire exit, because essentially you're asking people to do what they naturally do all the time. You don't need to go on a special training course to get to know someone.
Right.
You've been doing it all your life.
Yes, okay.
And so therefore, what you're doing is go out and do that with people who live around your church. And with a reasonable letter that tells them you're coming, then it's unlikely that people will object.
So you then just, when you came to Dagenham and you worked out, let's try it this way, and you worked out these things, 30 houses a Sunday. I mean, there's some other churches that are trying this that aren't doing it every week, but once a month. So that's what we're trying where we are. So you just worked through the streets around the parish?
Yes.
You just had a plan? Or?
That's very helpful, actually. So, like in all these things, you take someone's idea and you change it to the one that fits you.
Right.
So we do it once a week because we're a church plant.
Yes.
And we can set the culture.
Yes.
Right from the off.
Yes.
And therefore we go out twice a week, actually, because what we do is we go out on Sunday, and the people who weren't in on Sunday, we go back and see them on Tuesday and catch them in at a different time. So that's what we can do.
We're just, if it's helpful, we're starting out in this. We've done it 3 times: September, October, November, once a month. We've got a team that we're starting out with, and we've done half a street on each of those. But you've done it over the years, just methodically working through the streets in the parish.
Yes, and I think that what you're doing is actually very helpful to hear you say that, because once a month I think is doable.
It's sustainable. It might be some churches can do it once a week, but just starting
or once a fortnight even if you graduate. But try once a month first.
And we're just doing it on the Sunday. We haven't quite got the manpower to do it on the Tuesday. But that sounds a good thing, that you follow up those that weren't in on a Sunday, and just try and go back again. And that the letter that we'll come to in a second seems to give you permission within a short time frame for that letter still to count.
To work, that's right.
Yeah. Let's come to this letter then, can we? So you've planned the streets and you've prepared a letter that works for your area.
It's like that.
Great. And you've worked out the 30 houses you're going to do.
Yeah.
You write on. Did you handwrite on the front?
Yes, I stick the date on there, and I sign it with a fountain pen.
Yeah, so it looks personal.
If they wanted to go down, they can see that it's not just a first copy.
Yeah. Okay, great.
And the 2 colours make it just a little bit more eye-catching too.
Thought of that. Yeah, great. And so that goes in an envelope, and on the front it says, the resident at
white envelope, the owner, the occupier of number 3, Fenchurch Street.
Okay, brilliant. And do you deliver that, or do you delegate that to a team to deliver it?
A lady does that.
A lady does that for you?
Normally on Thursday.
Okay.
So 4 days before the Sunday visit, they get the letter.
So again, you've thought to make this sustainable, it can't just be Mike doing everything.
Oh,
You've got
absolutely.
others on the team who
Sure.
you just divvy these things
Yeah.
out. I'm trying to find someone to, who can be the person who puts it in the envelope and someone
Yes.
else takes it out. But
Yes.
so the letter then,
Yeah.
do you want to read it out? We'll put it on the screen in this presentation.
Fine.
Please read it out.
It just tries to be sensitive, really, with a bit of humour in there too.
Mm.
Dear resident, it's strange getting unexpected letters, and I especially want to apologise if you have a notice saying you don't want any leaflets through your door.
Mm.
But we aren't St. Peter's. We're a few Christians starting a new church on the estate, and we are simply wanting to get to know people who live here. We're aware that some have few friends. We're aware that in London it's probably wise to be suspicious of strangers. We also know how people are fed up of religious groups pretending to be friendly, but who only want to get their pre-packaged message across. We'd like to be different. We'd just like to get to know you and to talk about the things that neighbours talk about to each other. We think it'd be great to create a culture of friendliness in our area. People say it's attractive to live in a village because everyone is friendly. Why can't it be like that on our Becontree estate? So we aren't coming to get to you. Sorry, no, we're not coming to get to you to come to church. We're just coming to get to know you. And if you want to know, we do meet on Sundays at 3:30 Hedgeman's Road at 4 p.m. We're planning to knock on your door between 2 to 3:30 this Sunday. That's in bold print. It may be that you want to see us as much as you want to see the dentist, in which case please email me or text me or phone me, contact info below, and we'll leave you alone. We don't want to be pests. If, on the other hand, you quite like us to visit you, then it might be worth contacting us. We've put it at the top of the list. We're planning to visit the whole of your street, so can't talk long, and it may be that we've got so many conversations we don't get to you at all. Sending a quick "come to us" message in advance means you jump the queue, and we'll come to you first. We look forward very much to seeing you soon.
Okay.
Now, I think that's a bit long.
Okay.
And I think that other churches probably have done this better. And but in every church that's done this, they say the letter really helps.
Yes.
It prepares
It's
the
been
way.
our experience.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the John the Baptist.
So, do people text you and say, or email and say, I'd rather not?
Yes, absolutely love it when they do, because you can then equally convey the friendliness of saying thank you so much for letting me know. We'll tell the team to steer clear.
Okay.
And it just is really good for us to have this kind of help.
So at every point it seems,
Yeah.
from my experience of the model, there are opportunities for relational stuff, whether
That's
it's
right.
responding to say no, or we had someone who emailed no, and the parking's a nightmare around the church, and I was able to respond and say I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
But then also it's teeing it up for the meeting. One other thing just to pick up on, so you've said here that you're seeking to get to know you, to talk about things neighbours talk about. You're seeking to set it up for it to be about them and listening to it. Do you then with your team have to? Are there some that you sort of have to train not to turn up ready to, download everything that they've got, or is it?
Yes. So what do you mean?
How do you keep yourself as a team to doing what you said in the letter?
Well, we read the letter to the team so they know what's being expected of them.
Yes.
Incidentally, on the "don't come" front, a guy sent me an email not complaining about the parking, but just telling me not to come, and I said thank you, and he then wrote back and said a bit more, and in the end we had about 15 email exchange on this, and it was really great, because by the time we finished we were very good friends. And better conversations than we probably would have had if we visited.
Okay.
So you can't lose even at that stage.
Yeah.
But now what was the question again?
Just how do you keep yourself to this letter?
Yes. How to be friendly? I think we learn to structure a conversation that runs along those lines.
Okay.
So people are programmed to think that way in the training that we give.
Great. Well, let's come
to
that
then.
Yeah. So the letter's gone out Thursday. The team have gathered. In your case, you've had lunch together, and you're going out for what, an hour or so? Or?
Well, it can be an hour. It depends on how many.
Okay.
Sometimes it's a very early shower, and you come back. It just varies.
Yeah.
And what we do is we get to the door, and because later we can say, hi, we're from a local church, hope you got a letter on Thursday saying that there would be a knock on your door.
So that's your opening line.
That's the opening line.
Yeah.
And that way people say, oh yes, that's right, yes, I got a letter. I say, you know what, we come then, we're just getting to know people in our area. Have you been here long?
That's your next line.
That's the next
Okay,
line.
great.
Now the reason I do that
Yeah.
is because if you ask someone a factual question, they can give you a factual answer.
Right. Okay.
If you ask them an opinion question,
Yes.
they'll say, get lost, I can't be bothered.
Okay. So
Okay.
a factual question. Just say
How
it
long
again.
have you been here?
Right.
Well, in seconds you can,
Okay.
you know the answer to that. You
Yeah.
don't need to think.
Yes.
And then you're off on the conversation, I think, from there on in, because all it takes really is a genuine interest in the person that you're talking to. Therefore, if they say they've just moved in the area, the genuine interest in to say, but where did you move from?
Okay.
What brought you?
Okay. So for people who are worried about what am I going to freeze on the door?
Yeah,
Am I going to have nothing to say? You're just saying, just ask the next question. Take
that's
an
right.
interest. Okay.
Take an interest,
Yeah.
and with that interest, let the conversation go. But also, as you take an interest, also share something about yourself.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're the Gestapo, haven't
Right,
you? You're arriving. So you've just arrived. We've only been here 5 years, so we're reasonably new. Either we live in 155 Woodward Road.
Yes.
Do you know it is just down there? If you go to the end of the road and turn left, you get there.
So you're building a rapport.
So you're sharing information. If you ask information and that's all you do, then people will think,
Okay.
where's this going?
Yes.
If you're sharing information, but that's what neighbours do.
I hadn't thought of that. That's great.
So do that. And so that goes on, and generally you can say, and what do you love doing with your time? And they can tell you perhaps what they do for work, or you can ask them, what do you do when you just want to chill and relax? What takes the pressure off you? And there's a scope there for a bit of banter. Fishing? I've never understood why anybody would want to fish.
Okay.
Go on, convince me, because I really think it's just where you get cold and achieve nothing but spend a lot of money.
Yes.
I prefer walking the dog because that way you get to talk to somebody, not the dog, but hopefully someone you're walking with. And it's moving so you're warm. And apart from that, it's free. You don't have to pay for fishing permits. So you can just begin the conversation, and it is interesting the body language, because you start with the door that is yes, and then a little bit more, and I mean fishing is bad. They come out and defend that.
Yes.
And so you get and I guess if you really wanted a quick little subset of questions, even within the factual things. What gets you up? What gets you down? What gets you through?
Right. Okay.
And then you want to find out you've got family around here,
Right.
and just chat to them about that and who they're close to and who might they turn to when the bomb goes off.
Right. Right.
That sort of thing. And by the you're genuinely they're starting to think they're not after your money. And they're not going to pin you down, and they're just talking to you. And actually, people love talking about their number one favorite subject, which is themselves. And then you talk to them about, we're from church. Just out of interest, have you ever knocked around church, or have you managed to keep away for all of your life? What do you think about that sort of stuff? I'm just nosy. Do you reckon there's a God, or do you think it's just made up by people?
So you're giving them the options.
And you're giving the options. You're not putting them under pressure. They can say what they think. And then at that point, you have the chance to maybe say, is that really right to say that if there's a God, no one will know what he's like? Would that be fair if actually he's come to show us what he's like, and he's given us really good information to tell us, and could it be that actually it's not so much his fault, but if we've got our fingers in our ears and our eyes shut, then maybe it's more us than him. And
you can that feels.
And you can.
Yeah,
I love Acts 17. I guess if you had a working model, Acts 17 is good. For a start, it tells you that homes are a good place to visit, because it tells you in Acts 17. Yes, watch the coffee. It says that Jesus has determined allotted periods and the boundaries of their dwelling place, so that they should seek God and perhaps feel their way towards him and find him. So in other words, they're living and they're put there so they can go and find God, and it just helps for a guide to turn up and to see if the search is on.
Right, okay.
It also in Acts is just good because Paul turns up in Athens, Acts 17, both those, and he says, look, I can see you're mad keen on, you're very religious. But look, should you really be thinking about God in those terms? Is it really the other way around? And that kind of way of dialoguing with people to say, okay, you think that about him, but could it be better to look at it from this point of view? Wouldn't that fit life better? And so therefore you have the conversation.
Yes.
And
some people bite, and some people at that point it goes cold. Or
yes, some people would switch off at any given point, really. But I know that questions are innocent. But from a Christian perspective, if you really want to put your thinking head on, you could say question number one: find out the facts. What gets them up? What gets them down? I guess those are all little idol detector questions. You're finding out what people are living for, what gets them up in the morning, and what they wake up for. The second, you find out their relational base, and it's not surprising where the gospel is rejected that people shrink in the number of people they know and where they might find support from. And it's good for us to gauge where we might again be helpful to them. And then thirdly, we do evangelism that is responsive rather than proactive. Now, a lot of people might think, well, that's the difficult bit because I haven't got the encyclopedic Bible knowledge that you have. That may be true, but I think that most Christians know a little bit more about Jesus than non-Christians do.
Okay.
So whoever you are, you've got a head start.
And you're starting with asking them what they think anyway.
Yeah.
So those are 3 F's, and that's helpful.
Facts, friends, family, and faith.
Okay. So that's a sort of guide for the conversation as you open the door.
Yeah. So you don't need to have any bits of paper.
Yes. Do you take literature or deliberately not?
No, we don't. Well, yes, we do. We take stuff for our kids group and things like that in the back pocket. So if they have got kids, then we can say, this might be useful.
But you're not going to drop things. That's a different model. So do some close the door early on?
Yes.
Thanks. Got the letter, but not interested.
Yeah. And so therefore, generally, even at that moment, they're not hostile.
Yes.
That's thank you, but actually we'd rather not. Do you mind?
And you just
or we're just cooking dinner or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that's fine because I think it's not just bad for us if people are angry because that's discouraging, but it's bad for them. And if you have a Christian that's provoked that bad reaction in the non-Christian, well, the non-Christian will feel bad, blame you, and it's best to cut that down. So the letter in advance, the politeness of the door, and now sometimes when people have said no to me, and as I walk away from the path, I can almost feel them saying, "No, come back. I want to talk."
Okay.
But that's okay.
So some people close the door and you move on, but do that in a friendly way. Some people let you in, invite you into the house.
Yes, they do. Lots keep you a long time on the doorstep. That's the most common. But then some say, "No, come in." And
you're happy
some,
to do that as a parent?
some because of the letter
Right.
are waiting for you to come so
Right.
that they can
Okay.
invite you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you're in almost as soon as you knock on the door. And that happened to one of the guys who's now in our church. When we first visited him, he lived 200 yards down the road, and he just sort of opened the door and stood aside, and we went.
Yes. Yes.
And he's always been like that. Whenever we come and see him, and we've done one-to-one Bible studies with him, and now he's a Christian part of the church, and now coming out visiting with us himself.
Wow.
But yeah, so it does happen.
And sometimes you just you drop a text to the team.
We normally say, look, I've just popped you to number 47, so they can then pass that by. Otherwise, you have to do what I had to do last week, which is to yell, "I'm in here, go away!"
When they knocked on the door.
And they have to go off and
Okay.
and you interrupt the conversation because the guys had to answer the door again.
Okay. So, God willing, then you've had a Sunday with a few conversations shared amongst you, and you've come back. You then have church at 4:00.
Yeah.
But what opportunities? What happens next then in this model in terms of keeping it relational and following up?
Well, it works in different ways. So 4 weeks ago, we knocked on a Romanian family. Mum answered the door. Dad came and chatted too. And that was about 2:30 in the afternoon. 4:00, they were all in church, and they have been there ever since.
Gosh. Okay.
So sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
And they're not the only ones. We've got other people in our church who came the first day we visited them. But generally what happens after that is when we get back after the visits are over, we sit down, we get the kettle on, and we debrief. And when people tell me what their conversations have been like, I type furiously and get as much information as I can.
On a spreadsheet that you've set up?
Yes,
or something like that?
yes. And then I shut the computer, we do the evening service. On Monday morning, I open up that file again, and I look at what's been said, and then I write a little thank you card. Now it's just a postcard size with the church on it.
Right.
And front and back, I can get about 200 words on there.
Right.
And what I try and do is to say thank you very much for chatting to us. You've just got back from shopping or whatever it is, and you were still going to give us your time. We hugely appreciated it. The visitors, if it wasn't me, thoroughly enjoyed meeting you. They told me that.
So sometimes you're writing on behalf of others.
Yeah. And then I usually try and say something that is affirming. And it is just wonderful to see how you go the extra mile to make sure that your child gets to this unique hobby that they do, or whatever it is, and you accompany them. Find something to say, well done, if you can. And then I go on to say, you also mentioned that you weren't sure that there was a God. Read the Bible and it tells me that there is a God who made you, loves you, has given you everything that you have, and that one day you will meet him at the end of your life. It really won't be a great meeting if after he's done all that for you, you've largely lived as if he didn't exist. We'd love to chat more. Please could you use the contact details, get in touch. So I guess it's thank you, affirmation, a little bit of a Christian tract in there, and then finally, we'd love to see you again. That invitation.
And then you drop that through the door in the next couple of days.
Call back and knock on the door again.
Are you, well, in your model, you would then be able to knock
and say, because then I can say. You had a couple of people from our church on Sunday chatting to you. They absolutely love meeting you. That's why I didn't put this through letterbox, because they said they spoke so highly of you. I actually wanted to see if I could meet you.
Okay.
I'm glad I did.
Yes.
And this is to say thanks.
But if they're not in,
and then they goes to the door.
Yeah.
No one ever gets a thank you card generally, and this one I've got the thing on my computer. I've drafted out the text on my computer. I count up the words on my computer.
Right.
I then handwrite with the fountain pen.
Yeah. Okay.
And they don't throw that away.
That is time-consuming.
Yes.
Clearly, you're saying this is a significant part of my ministry.
Yeah.
You know, for you.
That's why we only do 30 houses.
Right. Yes.
Because generally we find half of them are out. I
Yes.
think you probably find a bit more, but
Yeah.
I think we find 50% are
Yeah.
out. And after that, quarter say no, quarter say yes. Now, actually, we are finding that is now increasing. So now more people are having the conversation. I think where our conversation rate is getting onto about 40% now, I think. And so therefore, if we had 30 houses and we had 15 that weren't out, then there's a good chance that I could be writing 10 thank you cards.
Yeah.
That's about my limit.
Yes, I found a similar thing, and I'm having to put in some time on Monday or Tuesday morning in the diary.
Yeah.
You know, once a month to do that.
Yeah.
And,
but hey, look.
So trusting it's worth it. But
Exactly, and I think that our work is to explain the importance of Jesus to people, and what else can we be doing? When I was the vicar, would prefer not to do funeral visits. This is far more important because you can actually meet people who aren't going to talk about their relative, but you can talk about something else. And yes, you can talk about something else, the funeral visit too, but generally it's the relatives that win the day. So I think I want to be able to invest in this rather than other things I could be doing in place.
Yes.
And I think that is worthwhile because people keep the card. If you have a handwritten tract, then people keep it and value it. Shall I tell you about
actually, just before we do, I'd love to hear about this card, but just before I forget this, there's this other card that you use as well, which is just that you drop in
on Sunday. That's right. On Sunday, if they're not in, we stick the card in saying, "Sorry you weren't in, but we did call."
Yeah.
So we're saying we kept our promise.
Got it. And then Tuesday, in your case, you're able to go back and pick that up.
Yeah. So we say. You might have got the letter on Thursday. We turned up on Sunday. You weren't in, so
we're here on
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Try another time.
Great. Now, tell me the story. Let's think about follow up and fruit and what you've seen over the years. Love to
But that's the thing. You see, there's no instant.
Yes.
Press the button and then out come all the coins.
Yeah.
That can take time. I've found that people actually keep cards, and that's come through in lots of different ways. But this is an interesting time when a group of young people walked in. And I said, "Lovely to see you here. What brought you?" It's fish in his pocket. He brought out this card, and I said, "That's one of our cards. It's discoloured." He said, "Yes, it's 5 years old." I said, "But that doesn't explain why it's discoloured." He said, "No, it was on the fridge, and he caught the sun, and that's what discoloured it." And I said, "You kept a thing on the fridge for 5 years?" Well, not on that fridge, because that was a time when we had to replace the fridge, so we took it out and put it on the new fridge. And he got more sun, and that's why it's even more discoloured. And so we've come, and he brought with him, he was 60 at the time he got the card. He's 21 now. He's brought his 20-year-old sister and her 19-year-old friend, and a little baby that the 19-year-old friend had. And so 3 young people come in, and we get the chance to meet with them. And they came successive services, and just recently they've stopped. I think because he's got a girlfriend, and that's taking up the attention. But
how extraordinary!
But that is that.
So you can't see what the Lord is doing on any given Sunday, but it seems to be that the Lord, certainly has been using it in Dagenham and other places.
And the church is happy to keep doing what I'm doing here when I go.
Great, so you've handed
because essentially they've seen. I think last Sunday 40% of our church had come through door knocking on the estate, and genuine conversions is part of that. And I think that's just tip of the iceberg, the way God
Right.
works.
Yeah.
You don't see the full picture.
Of course.
But I think the other thing is that when you actually shift off and want to do something, the same thing somewhere else, things like the thank you cards, to be right, we call them cue cards for short. But I think I'm going to leave a few templates around. So again, it isn't the next guy who's got to do all the work. And so other people in the team can start taking on that next step responsibility of writing these things up, because they've got something there they can largely base their card on. And I think the other thing about this model is you don't have to be the budding Billy Graham at the start. I think if you go off, perhaps with the minister or someone else, or you've been briefed well, you can get going. Some people naturally prefer to say, look, I'm slightly shy on this. I can see the value of it. I can't see myself being very good at it right at the very beginning. Why didn't I ride shotgun?
Right.
And so when you've got two, you can generally take someone, train them, and they can see what's happening without being under the spotlight. And so we've got a young guy turned up, and last time he was for the first time able to be part of the conversation himself.
We've used some who've just come to pray or to deliver the letter, but are gradually growing in confidence. So you've seen nervous people sort of growing in confidence. And in terms of...
I think because it is a sane way of talking.
Right.
In other words, it's not, they haven't stepped into another world.
Yes.
This is the ordinary world that actually they've been in before. So, okay, if that's the conversation, well, maybe I can.
They're just asking
engage
questions,
in it
taking
too.
an interest. You've managed to do a number of houses as you look back over the years. The Lord's helped you
in this place, we've counted up now. We've done this estate's got 5,500. We've done 5,000, and I've got 7 more to write before I leave. But at the moment, we're posting Christmas cards out. But in January, when we resume and we get houses, if I can write another 7 of these, I'd have written 2,000 handwritten
5,000
thank you cards.
2,000
postcards to people.
Any final thoughts, or as you look back, just things that the Lord has taught you through this over the years?
I think that actually this is a great thing for a church to do. Previously, I've been the vicar of different churches for a very, very long time. And the thing that you do, evangelism is kind of incidental. And a lot of the job is spent looking after sheep. Whereas I think what I've learnt in this final stage, which I think is the most exciting stage, is that you see God's glory in a wonderful new way, I think, when you go out evangelizing, and then you become intentional about evangelism rather than incidental in your approach to it. And so I think that this is something that is really great for churches to get behind, because that is really the Great Commission. Jesus said, go. I don't know why we here gather, but I think he said go. And I think that is where we ought to be. That's the direction of travel, I think, for every church. And I think that the good thing is that this is a model that can be adapted. So I'm sure you'll be doing it differently, and I'm sure every other church that's taken this on is doing it differently. I'm hoping better in every case. And so therefore the reports that come back, and they're not telling me all the time, when I see somebody at a conference and ask, and I'm massively impressed because they've seen, okay, we've got these resources, and this is what we're going to try and do.
Mike, thank you very much for chatting, and a chapter here closes, but a new chapter starts. May the Lord go on using things here and when you move as well.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.